Alright guys, the movie we've been waiting for is finally here. So I don't really know how to start this. I mean, the movie was just absolute perfection. It's going to be really hard to give a true breakdown of the movie because there was literally nothing in this movie I had a problem with whatsoever. I didn't have an issue with the cast, with the acting, with the story. I mean, it is basically a almost shot for shot copy of the original one. But they did add some more stuff, and they added some really neat stuff. The most of the added scenes were for Stoic. I think it was to give Gerald Butler a sort of more of a to feel more of a presence from him in this movie, because there's one scene where he had a big speech. He just got a majority of, I feel like, the screen time of the extra footage put into this movie, and he did a great job, obviously. So before we dive into this movie, as I do with reviewing franchises of the newest movie, I like to showcase the movies from the previous parts of the franchise I have. So we'll sort of skim through that. I have the steelbook for the first and original How to Train Your Dragon. I absolutely love this steelbook. There's something about it that's just really, really neat. I enjoyed this movie as a kid. This is probably still one of my favorite movies from DreamWorks at all. And it's just a movie I have no complaints about. And the same can be said for the rest of the trilogy. It seems as if a lot of How to Train a Dragon fans, at least in my personal experience from the people I know, never watched the second or third. But they are really solid movies. I mean, they had a really neat story in there. So we have How to Train Your Dragon 2 on standard 4K. I don't believe they make a steelbook for the second or third. Maybe that'll change later. They could make a box set, but who knows. So there's the copy for the second, and then here's my copy for the third. No slipcovers. It's just the way it came. Ordered it from Amazon. This just is what it is. So yeah, got that. And then at the theater, to see the new one, they had the popcorn bucket. And if you've seen it online for AMC and Cinemark, I mean, pretty much every movie that comes out, they are competing against each other for the best popcorn bucket. But the way I understand it, which I could be completely wrong, but because from what I heard is popcorn buckets, most of the money you pay for those, the profits go more toward the theater than to the studios that the popcorn bucket is based on. So for collectors who are still trying to help save physical movies and save going to the theater, a lot of collectors are buying popcorn buckets. One, because they're making some really neat stuff now. A lot of them don't really function as a popcorn bucket. They're just a collector item, like the one I'm about to show you. So if you love movies, if you love going to the theater, you see a popcorn bucket you like, and you got the money to spend on it, it's only going to help the theater. So here's the popcorn bucket for How to Train Your Dragon. So the reason these don't really function as a popcorn bucket is in the back. I guess this is where they would put the popcorn. But since it's kind of rubbery, you don't really want that smell on the food when you're eating it, especially since these just come out of the bag. They don't, they're not going to go wash all the popcorn buckets before handing them out. It's just sort of a neat piece to have in your collection. And this one was not crazy expensive because it's rubbery and, well, probably just plastic. It's not too bad. It's not like for Fantastic Four, AMC's Galactus popcorn bucket is $79.99, and you can look that up. That's the actual price for the new popcorn bucket, and I will not be paying that. I will pay for the $30 Cinemark one if I can find it. Cinemark and AMC seem to be the ones mainly at war with the popcorn bucket. So now that I've showcased this stuff, let's dive into the movie. So yeah, like I said, it is nearly shot for shot, but the actors just did such a great job sort of conveying the character. So let's sort of start off with the side characters. Rough Nut and Tough Nut, they sort of have that sort of sibling rivalry, and they convey that perfectly on screen. I mean, you can tell that they'll defend each other, but they really can't stand each other. And just their back and forth banter between themselves and the rest of the Vikings training to take down a dragon. The banter between the cast was just great. I thought they did a great job portraying those characters, and I can't wait to see their acting in the next one as well. Because yes, the second one is confirmed. Apparently they are on track to probably confirm a third. They're just not going to announce it yet. And good news, the director apparently is toying with the idea of a How to Train Your Dragon 4. If this trilogy is successful, he said if there is still an interest for all three of these movies, sort of hinting at the third's confirmation, he is considering a fourth one. And we don't know if it would be in live action or an animated, or they could do a dual release. If they do it both, that could be really neat. So who knows? The possibilities are endless. Next character, Gobber, I thought he did great. The actor did a phenomenal job portraying him. The different uses of his, because he doesn't have a hand, so the device he has for a hammer or an axe or whatever he has on there, he sort of cycled through a lot of different kinds of stuff in this movie. And my memory isn't good enough to remember if he did that in the animated or not, or if this is slight extra footage. I just don't know. I've seen the first movie, but my memory doesn't work that well enough to sort of analyze every single scene to remember if it's exactly the way it was. I just know I'm hearing from the majority of people saying that this is a near shot-for-shot remake. And so, Gobber sort of finds the balance between all the characters, because Stoic is this great, grand, legendary Viking, and Hiccup just isn't. But he's trying to be a dad, but he wants Hiccup to be a Viking. Hiccup doesn't want to. So sort of that tension between them, Gobber sort of goes into the middle, saying, hey, he's your son, you need to find a way to help him, but also, Hiccup, this is what he expects from you, so let's try to give him a little bit of leeway here. So he just plays the role where he sort of, he's not playing peacemaker between everyone, but he's sort of the backbone of encouragement, if you will, for these characters. And I think the actor just portrays it extremely well. There's not one character in this movie where I thought their acting was really bad. Snotlout, his character is sort of exactly what it was from the animated. He's just sort of this obnoxious character that just is in love with Astrid, but she wouldn't ever see that. Not that she even cares. So he also portrays that pretty well. He just sort of has that sort of pompous, cocky attitude where he thinks he's the greatest until Astrid says something better. So now he's just totally on board with that as well, which is how he was in the other movie as well. So that's another portrayal that I really appreciated. And then Astrid did a phenomenal job. I think the reason that people are sort of not liking her performance better than the animated is because I feel like her not liking Hiccup and wanting to be the main warrior, I think that story, it felt like it almost lasted a little longer in this one than the other, because it feels that way because of all the extra scenes. The runtime is longer for this one, so it feels like it takes longer for her to sort of accept the friends around her. So I could sort of see that, but any other reason, I just don't buy it. I thought her acting was great. I thought she portrayed the character extremely well. And she not only, I know the actress wants to sort of make this role her own, and she doesn't want to copy the animated version, but she did portray the animated one really well. We need that familiarity with these characters transferring from animation to live action, and I think she did a great job with that. So, yeah, no complaints here. Hiccup and Stoic, obviously, there are two main people for cast. Stoic, Gerald Butler just did a phenomenal job. I had read, apparently he claimed that the costume and the sword and the helmet and everything, apparently it was a 90-pound costume that he had, and he had the same costume the whole time. So every single scene he's in, he has a 90-pound costume on, and you couldn't tell it bothered him one bit. I mean, he went all out, showcasing his acting for this movie. He has his emotional moments, he has these strong Viking moments, he has these great speeches. There's one scene in particular where he has this grand speech that they added into this movie. So yeah, his acting was just really great. There was nothing I had an issue with it at all whatsoever. And then now we have Hiccup. So Mason Thames, he was in, I don't know if The Black Phone is the only movie he's been in before this, but I did watch that, and of course he was younger then, but he was a really good actor, even for a child in a horror movie. Now he's in a big budget blockbuster, and obviously his acting is absolutely insane. What impressed me the most about his portrayal of Hiccup is the rest of the characters in this movie did a great job acting, but what Mason Thames did that the others just didn't is, the only way I can describe it is, if you watch this movie, if someone who is deaf, maybe if they don't have captions on and they're just watching the movie without hearing what's going on, if they watch Hiccup, you're going to know exactly what's going on because his facial expressions were just absolutely immaculate. I mean, everything he did in his performance, you could tell exactly what he's feeling, exactly what he's thinking, exactly what he's going to do. I mean, he's just one of those actors. I think he's going to go on to be a huge star in Hollywood. I hope he gets role after role after role because his acting was absolutely incredible in this movie. So there you have it. There's his acting. I think we've gone through most of the big characters. Snotlout's father is in this movie, so I think that is an added character in this film versus the original. And there are a few extra side characters added, but they're, as far as I remember, weren't named. So maybe in the second or third, they'll give these new characters a little bit of a story, give them more life. But Snotlout's father was sort of the only really named added extra character. And so obviously now we gotta talk about the dragons. I mean, I'm extremely biased to this movie. I'm extremely biased to the franchise and biased to DreamWorks. I mean, I've enjoyed so many of their movies. And when it comes to the Disney live action remakes, I haven't watched very many. I've seen a few. Some, the CGI looked decent, some looked really bad. And How to Train Your Dragon, this movie, it almost felt like the director's just showing off. That's how great the CGI looked. I mean, there is no comparison between this movie and Disney. This is also, it made a record, I believe, for the first live-action remake that costs less than the original one did. So with a smaller budget, and they still made them look that realistic. I mean, there's something about Stoic walking around the village, punching dragons in the face. I mean, it took their sort of not goofy, but sort of very unvisceral design in the animated one. Translating to this, it almost feels just badass. The way the characters are going after the dragons and everything, and the way they're breathing fire and things being destroyed. It just felt more real. It felt bigger, felt more action-packed. It felt like an epic. So, yeah, this was absolutely insane. I mean, for me, the visuals all around. I mean, the cinematography alone was great, with Toothless flying around the island with all the flight training. I mean, the cinematography was absolutely insane. And so, with that being said, I don't know what Disney live action remakes are going to look like in the future. I know with Lilo and Stitch, they had basically, the original movie had 4 main alien characters that should have been CGI. They just had to cut one of those 4 characters out entirely, and 2 of the 3 left were humans most of the time. So Disney was just extremely lazy with it, whereas this movie, they went all out on a smaller budget and made it look absolutely insane. The final dragon in the end, the big boss fight, if you will, that looked absolutely insane. I mean, it was freaky, it was terrifying, it looked great, it looked extremely real. Everyone around, the director, the cast, cinematographer, obviously the score, I believe is the same. The extra scenes may have had extra bits of a score to it, but the score, generally speaking, is the same. So everything involved in this movie, to me, was just perfection. I mean, I have so many great childhood memories watching this movie, and I felt all of those emotions, and I had all those memories flowing back to me watching this one now again, but for the first time because it's live action. So being able to transfer those memories and just bring it all back and feel like a kid again, to see something so epic, so exciting, it takes a really talented director to do that, and it takes a special attention to detail and respect to the franchise to be able to convey that in the same way again. So for me, simply put, it was perfection. There's nothing I had an issue with at all whatsoever. The acting, the dialogue, the costumes, the score, the cinematography, any of it. I mean, this is literally a perfect movie. So, like I said, I am a little... Dogs. So I am a little biased to, this franchise because I had such a love for it as a child. But now seeing it, I'm extremely excited to see the second. I really hope they make the third. If they do, of course, I'll be there. And I think if they do end up going with a fourth, I mean, I'll be there too. So yeah, no complaints here. Go check it out, guys. This is one you gotta see in theaters. If you go to Cinemark, they have D-Box with the seats move depending on what's going on in the movie. Me and who I saw it with saw it in XD, saw it in 3D, and saw it in D-Box. So the flight scenes with Toothless, I mean, that alone, the experience was phenomenal. Where he's turning, your seat is turning, just everything going on was perfection. So yeah, check this one out, guys. Please check it out. If you do, let me know in the comments. I want to know what you think about this. I want to know if there are no complaints from people like it is for me. Please check it out, guys. Absolutely love this movie. This is movie of the year contender, absolutely, so far. So thank you guys for sticking with me for my review of this movie. I can't wait to review the next ones. All right, keep digging, guys. Till next time.